This is the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Matt. In this podcast, we're going to discuss growing companies, automation and manufacturing,
and how we're building the lives and businesses we want to see in the world.
Well, general feelings of the week. I feel like I've kicked it off the last couple of weeks. How is Michael feeling this week?
I think generally good. I have been going through this trend of looking at how to simplify the business. I feel like things have gotten a little bit too complicated again. And I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but I started, especially when cash was tight before, we closed this SBA loan. I found myself chasing revenue, even if it wasn't good revenue. And
diving for dollars is a real struggle.
And it's we have the money in AR, right? But it's tied up in AR. And, it wasn't as bad of a problem as it was in my head, in reality versus in my head, right? We were months away from missing payroll or something. But I still kind of was panicky, and I kept chasing, and some of these have already been quoted. So kind of crossing my fingers, some of them don't close. These very complicated multi-stage automation deals, right?
How many of those did you bid?
3.
You'll get one.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the timelines of deals we've done in the past. And when we're doing these complicated $50,000, $60,000 two-op automation deals, instead of the $25,000 two-op automation deals we do all the time, where it's boom, boom, boom. We know exactly how to do them. They're really smooth. They're really fast. There's always these little hiccups that come up, and all these things that happen. And I think what's changed is now that the intro load is becoming one of the main items for us. Becoming 30% of revenue right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's the case, I look at, here's a $50,000 box that works every time, that takes no customer training, right? That takes no specialized engineering, versus here's a $50,000 sale that's completely custom, right? And now that I have that
$50,000 custom sales, I'll say it sucked. It's just so small. When it's super custom, but I wouldn't call it custom for what you're doing. To me, custom is we got to start from scratch in CAD.
Yeah, for sure. But I guess the big difference is with the semi-turnkeys for two-op automation, it's cutting soft jaws, it's doing the customer training, it's doing gripper jaws, it's doing validation testing. It's contained. And where I start to call it custom is it's okay, it's not 1 or 2 part numbers, it's 12, right? It's not, maybe not that bad, but maybe 4, or the trays have to be extra big, or, maybe they want the trays to be standardized to go into this other machine or something, right? Where we're starting to deviate so much from our normal process that, the margins kind of seem to get squeezed. But even less than the margins, it's not following what the company is good at, which is this productized service kind of system that we built. So that's been a big theme. Generally I've been feeling good. We had a new shop hand start who's been doing great so far.
Cool.
I'm also.
So when did you interview them? Because I know that was one of your tasks that you were working on, but this must have rolled out pretty quickly. You must have talked to them and they started the next day.
No. So we basically we did the assembly. We hired him into the assembly position, but we hired him through our assembly listing, but we put him in the shop hand position because we kind of realized, hey, we need more of a general. We don't just need someone to assemble components, right?
Okay.
So kind of this theme of simplifying. There's we're in the final stages of building a couple intro loads, which is looking like it's going to become a theme, and I've also started to really rethink our marketing, even more than our sales, of how we're approaching it, how to systemize it, and get it to a reasonable workload.
Sounds like you need to pick one thing and stick to that.
We'll talk about that. Let's do your general feelings, because I got a lot to talk about on marketing and how we've been doing it and how maybe we should be doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mine is nothing too crazy. I'd say just kind of good general flow, if you will, for the week. I did have one interesting surprise road trip that was kind of fun too, which I like some variety in occasional things like that. I get excited when all of a sudden, all right, what was going to be a virtual meeting, I had some stuff on my calendar change, and I decided to jump in the truck and go on a 2-mile road or a 2-hour road trip for a project that looks like there's pretty high odds of closing here now. And I think being on site, that impromptu really made a big difference, which is really good, I guess. So had fun with that, very energizing. And I think that's kind of it. Just kind of enjoying the week.
Do you still drag around the plod for the transcript? Is that working well?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
has been awesome. I record pretty much every meeting that everything on site now that I go do, I record. It helps so much for proposals. So then when we get back, if there's anything big detail based, I can just give that to the team.
Yep.
So Yeah.
Yeah, I've been loving just putting the transcripts through ChatGPT, and
you're
Still
using
got-
the plod, or are you saying the fixer?
so far a fixer, but how much is a little plod, guys? Like $300? Is there a
It's like
subscription or anything?
$140 some, and it's like
Oh.
$150 a year.
Oh, not bad. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just this little
Yeah.
thing I magnetize right to my chest, if you will.
But yeah, more site visits, more.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of it. It was just I enjoyed it. Monday was site visits, Tuesday was site visits, Wednesday was me trying to catch up from the wave of stuff. I was just like drained from being on the road for those days. I tried doing, so it ended up being 4 pitches between Monday and Tuesday, and all of them were very large proposals.
Yeah.
And
This was last week, though, right?
no, this was this week too.
Oh, okay.
And last week we had that many.
Yeah.
But Tuesday, that one that I had at the afternoon, like it was too much. I shit the bed on that pitch, if you will. It was just like, man, Matt, you tried doing way too many big things and coordinating those. So I think I learned from that is probably something. I even apologized to the guy at the end of it. I'm like, yeah, I owe you after this one. I had a few things that weren't clarified.
Yep.
So I guess that's what happens when you're trying to move quick.
Yeah, some stuff's gonna fall through the cracks.
So,
Well, one thing I didn't mention is, like, as far as general feelings, like I've been a little bit like under the weather for the last week and a half, and I found myself like not doing the hard things that move the business needle, right? I've kind of like fallen back into that technician role because it's like easy and it takes no brain power. So like, if you're just having an off day, like it's very easy for me to fall back and like run a machine, or like you criticized me last week, I think very validly, about building the HMI panels, and some of the stuff needs to get done. Like Intraload, it's still a relatively new product, but like if I'm building an HMI panel, like I need to have meta glasses or some kind of camera, and it needs to be an SOP so that the goal is the next one isn't me.
I agree with that. I
yeah.
also prefer constructive criticism or constructive feedback.
I take criticism
I'm
well, I
giving-
think.
I'm giving you crap.
Yeah.
My dad always has a line that like anybody can be a critic. So
Yeah,
you're
I
doing
think
a lot
learning
of
to take
stuff.
criticism in stride is like a big thing.
Oh
Or just-
yeah, it's definitely a learned thing, and it's once you get used to it, it's like you want it. Like I like it when the team says, "Matt, could you please stop doing that?"
Yep.
Yes, you bet I can. If that makes your life easier, I'm all about it.
And I found, I guess to put it bluntly, like some of the most pain in the ass, frustrating customers have led to the fastest pace of improvements of our products, because they are like, oh, this could be better, this could be better, this could be better, this could be better. And it's very easy to like sit there and be defensive, and where I've tried to land is like, okay, I'm going to take the criticism. And the first thing I'm going to ask is, are they right? And I would say half the time they are. And half the time they are, usually I schedule like, okay, we're going to do a rev change. And then when that rev change comes around, I send them the new version. I tell them to send us the old one back. And that, obviously you lose money on that individual transaction, but like that's a lot of how I think we have been able to spin up such good versions of products in such little time.
Well, those customers become very loyal when they were a pain because they weren't satisfied, and then you
Yep.
do things like that. That's where I've found some of our most loyal customers, where there was frustrations on both sides, and you just kind of step in and you make it right. It sucks, but if you can zoom out on the business, you're totally doing what's right, Michael. I like that.
Yeah, and there's good pains and bad pains. And I think like making sure that you're only keeping the good pains, and we'll talk more about this in the continuous improvement and general shop changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I don't have a whole lot in sales and marketing this week, so we can probably cruise through that. So, to kind of get past the general feelings of the week, sales and marketing, I have no new experiments. I was pitching all week. Sales SOW, I failed. I didn't get that done. I just had too much going on with adding that extra road
Yep.
trip and trying to get caught back up in the office. My goal is basically going to be to get that done next week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like you've really been pounding the pavement, and
Yeah, I'm staring at a windshield is I don't like, but I really like what's at the end of it. I really enjoy meeting with our customers, so it's totally worth it.
yeah. And you're kind of you're near Illinois, right?
We are, yes, just straight north.
Yeah. I mean, like we have like 3 or 4. So we got 2 intraloads and like 3 or 4 customer visits lined up, all in Illinois. And I'm like, man, our core market may not be super close to California, but that is what it is.
Okay, we're in Illinois. You going for site visits?
There's a couple in Chicago. I mean, I don't really know where.
Will you personally be doing them or somebody else?
Yeah, they're because they're early ones, and also because I want that touch point with the customers, right?
Okay.
So, like especially one customer has already, purchased multiple other systems. The other customer I think is a very good potential to sell on additional systems, and it's also I'm trying to take it as an opportunity to go get, marketing videos and testimonial videos there too.
Perfect. Well, let me
and-
know.
yeah.
We're like 2 hours just straight north of Chicago. So if you want to
yeah, we
meet
should
up,
come
let me
visit.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. I can otherwise swing down if you're too packed and figure
Yeah.
something out.
But I guess do you wanna just recap your sales and marketing? I know you said you didn't have much, but just
That was
pounding the
pretty
pavement.
much.
Yeah.
That was pounding the pavement. And I had 3 separate site visits between Monday and Tuesday, 4 pitches total between Monday and Tuesday. But I think really what everybody really cares here listening is I have no new changes on our SOPs because I'm really enjoying what they're doing. We just have to get this SOW to formalize all of it so we can hopefully hire a salesperson in 2026.
Yeah, that's I've been rereading as I've been falling back into that technician role, the E-Myth Revisited, which I think has been good for me. And I think I made the mistake that the book points out numerous times of not building out SOPs enough, trying to just hire in a senior person, and then they don't try to do it the way that works for the company, and then the role ultimately fails.
Yeah, I've never listened to the E-Myth or read it, so that's interesting. Probably should do that.
Yeah, I kind of revisit that book every time I find myself not working on the business enough. And it's a good kick in the ass to fix that,
Perfect.
which I think I
Yeah.
occasionally need.
Yeah.
Well, so for me with sales and marketing, I think one of the big things on my mind has been marketing, and we had our EO, like the entrepreneurs organization group, like the business owners meet yesterday, and in that 4-hour meeting or whatever, one of my big topics was like, okay, how do I fix my marketing? And half of the businesses are a little bit bigger or similar size to us, and then the other half are 10x or more. And I kind of said, hey, like we're spending roughly 15 grand a month. It depends on the month, but 8 to 20 grand a month
You
on
had to
marketing.
turn some heads in that room.
Yeah. well, that's pretty low. I mean, compared to the businesses, I think that are were our size, I think that number seemed high, and compared to the businesses that were 10, 15x our size, it was like, oh, that's like that's nothing.
See, and I
but
would have thought I guess you're in California though. If I said what you're spending to a lot of corporate companies in Wisconsin, because we're so conservative over here, they'd be like, what are you doing with that money?
mhm. Yeah.
It would like a manufacturing company 10 times our size, spends, I bet the exact
yeah.
same
That-
over here.
And I think industry standards are like 2 or 3% for manufacturing, and I think that's way too low. I do. There's so many names that you just haven't heard of, that are big companies that are they're just not capturing new clients, because people don't know about them, and they're not doing any marketing to the small shops who will eventually become some of the new big shops, right? But anyways, the question I asked the group was like, we're spending most of this money on PPC. I mentioned to you that that I went and told ChatGPT, hey, look at this web page. It was the intro load page, and tell me how to fix the SEO for this, dozen keywords. And it gave me such great advice. And then I thought, hey, how am I going to do this on every single page? Like even just with like ChatGPT handing me the answers, like, and going to our developer, where I'm just like overseeing the work and scoping it out. Like, how am I going to do this on like 75 pages? So like I asked my forum group, like, hey, am I just an idiot for not hiring a firm, like a marketing firm? And they all said yes. And they pretty much all told me, hey, like what you need to be probably doing is, number one, find a marketing firm that will charge you somewhere between like $4,000 and $8,000 a month. And number two, just lower your pay-per-click budget by that amount, and you'll probably succeed more. Which is, I'd reach out to you of like, hey, how's your marketing firm doing? Maybe there's an intro there. And I want to get your feedback too, because I know this has been one thing of Michael tackling it all on his own. Yeah.
So feedback on going with a firm? Because
Yeah,
I think we've chatted about that several times, and I agree with your group that hiring a firm, that's what Develop decided to do. 3 years ago is when we first hired our first agency. We're now on our second one. We've been with them for 2 years. Been really happy with the second one. It takes a while. I think the big thing, Michael, is teaching a marketing agency, because they don't know what we do in this space, that it took like that first 6 to maybe 9 months just training them.
Yeah.
About what we do. Like they'll get like certain portions of it, but your entire vision of your business and what's happening. And once I hit that, we really kind of started hitting some strides with our agency. But I think that's the key, is looking at it as a 12-month contract. It's a team member or an extension of your organization, and you're going to have to train them as such, which takes significant energy.
Yeah. I think I've just been like coming to terms with like, okay, we're not good at everything. And like, yeah, like we're decent at like doing Instagram. We've made money back from Facebook ads. But like there's probably a lot of money we're leaving on the table in like upside revenue. That I think I've been, I don't know, too cheap or too, like I think I had too low end of firms for what we were trying to do. And I got frustrated with getting like low end results and being treated like, oh, we're just going to collect our retainer and do literally nothing every month. Right.
Yeah. That you definitely have to manage your agencies is what I found. So I think that might have been part of the reason our first one fell out. But at the same point, there was things that just wasn't going to work. But
yeah,
the other one is it has been a management, like an extension of your team. You have to be very clear of expectations, goals, and sometimes motivating them around certain things.
You're getting quiet again. I think you leaned back in your chair.
And just, motivating them or communicating what your goals or motivations are.
Yeah. And I think too, like there's definitely been historically a management issue with me, like managing the firm enough. But yeah, it also, the most recent firm we had, it wasn't going to work out even if I was super on top of them. Right.
Yeah. If we look back, from a time perspective, last year when we were doing the big bulk of the build, what I'm spending on sales time this year was equivalent to what I was doing in marketing last year. So I was spending 20 to 30 hours just giving them communication, giving them information, reviewing what they were doing, and getting stuff uploaded.
20 to 30 hours, like a week, a month?
A week.
Yeah.
It was very intense for a period there.
Yeah.
This year now, I'm probably spending 8 hours a week.
Yep.
And so that it might even be, it's actually probably less than that, because I spend 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours on Thursday in meeting prep and meeting with them, and then tasks afterwards, and then review of content that they're working on, usually some other time in the week that ranges for another 2 to 3 hours. So what does that end up being? 5 to 8 hours a week, roughly?
Yep.
Is what I'm spending with our marketing and agency.
Yeah, I guess my ideal is like, okay, can I put in like a level of spend where I'm putting in a similar amount of time, right? Because honestly, like if I were putting in 20 or 30 hours a week right now, like I feel like I could do it on my own. But maybe the mistake is that that's not sustainable, right?
Yeah, I don't. We were just
The
doing a lot of stuff at that point. Maybe
yeah,
yours would be a
I'm not
fraction of
trying to
that.
do as much, right?
I mean, we rebuilt everything.
Yeah,
Like over the course of a year, we rebuilt our entire page. We took our keywords from like 700 on our website to 4,000.
yep,
Uh, we're ranking on top of Google for, I forget, I think it's like 70 some keywords on first page.
yep,
So like there was a lot we were wanting to accomplish there. We were releasing roughly, what would it have been? It would have been 4 blogs a month and then 1 knowledge base. So a whole lot of content. And we rebuilt all our website pages, which was like 30 some pages.
yeah.
Like I was so sick of reading about develop there. Like,
Yeah. Like one thing too, like as I was discussing, like what our pay-per-click spend is, like there's kind of two elements. The one is that, we haven't been around that long, right? Kind of 3 years have been, what I'd say, like real focus on automation. And that's kind of number one of why our marketing spend has been so high. But I think the number two challenge is like, especially like most small businesses are service-based, right? And we're in this kind of uncanny valley with, say, a $25,000 to $50,000 transaction where it's kind of like we're half product, half service, kind of productized service.
yeah.
And where, we need to fall probably in between, like someone doing direct to consumer on Facebook, that, 30% of revenue could be ads. And for a long time, retainer based business, law firm or construction or whatever, it should be like 1 or 2%, right? And I think we have to find that balance. So I think to like maximize revenue, like we probably do have to spend a greater percentage than you guys would because your project value is so much higher. I don't know if you think that's right or not.
You're saying on ad spend.
On actual ad spend, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have to get through more projects and keep a flow.
Yeah, I don't know because when our lead count or cost per, I guess, what's your cost per click typically on your stuff that you're doing?
It's like 20 cents on Facebook and up to like $4 or $5 on Google.
And so we're starting at that like $4 to $5 for the
Yeah.
keywords we're going after and like up to 20.
Okay, yeah.
So
And
I wouldn't be surprised if they're pretty comparable in that realm. We haven't done Google ads in a little while. I just didn't
Right.
see the amount of conversions I was wanting to see there. So I guess that might not even be fair, but yeah, I think our cost per lead of what we're willing to spend though is probably higher. Like I don't know what you're
Right.
willing to spend per lead.
Yeah, I'm like $1,000 probably.
Yeah, and I'd pay like 10 to 25,000.
Yeah. I think one thing too where I've been making a mistake is, over time, like, I started very much like everything e-commerce. I thought I'd sell, grippers and grabbers and vices and modules and encoder kits through Shopify, and that would be it. And the business over time to focusing on what works has become very turnkey intraload, like selling packages. And I think I probably have some like legacy thinking, specifically around how like running ads for grippers. Like, is that going to succeed, or do I need to be running ads around turnkey automation? Am I just burning cash because I might sell 5 grippers to random customers, but that's what, $7,000 when I could be allocating all that budget to going after turnkey customers.
I see where you're coming from. How can you run a test on this? Because what last thing you want to do is take all that budget from where you are generating an ROI and unsure on the upside on the other option.
Yeah. And A/B test has been a huge pain point for us with pay-per-click. And
Well, I'm saying A/B to your SEO. The issue is SEO is going to take you 3 to 9 months before you start seeing that.
Well, I'm just viewing these as different buckets.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
I get it. Does it?
I'm more like, do we go and spend that money on turnkeys or grippers, right?
Let's theoretically say, so you're spending $15,000 on ads.
Yeah.
Let's say you take 30% of that away though, and you put that on an agency for your SEO. Is losing that 30% in leads from your Google ads going to have a negative impact on your revenue?
I think the answer is not enough. Like, it obviously will be negative, right? But I think the answer is, like, now that I say it all out loud, we've kind of been targeting the wrong things. Like, I don't know that targeting gripper or vice sales brings in significant amounts of revenue. And obviously I love having transparent pricing. I love taking the Haas approach of like what you see is what you get and it's what you pay, right?
Yeah, I like it too.
But at the same time, like if all the value I'm getting is these $25,000 to $50,000 transactions and that's making up 90% of revenue, probably that's where I want to be putting my money on advertising.
That makes sense.
And when I said like A/B testing is a huge pain point for us, the problem is like I know meta ads work, but return on ad spend is like the number one thing to look at. And I can track if someone clicks on our ad, goes to our website and buys something, right? What I can't track is if they go on our website, they fill out a contact form, and then then it gets put into HubSpot. Like at most, the best I can do is they came from Meta, but it's not realistic for them to tell me exactly what part of ad copy they got there from.
I can track if there's a download. Yeah. I can track pages through HubSpot.
Okay.
I didn't set it up. Our agency did.
Yeah. See, this is why I guess one of the places I don't know what I don't know.
I think the challenge you would have if going with our agency is they're going to want to move you to WordPress and you're on Shopify.
Which is a no-go. I mean,
so that'd probably be the non-starter for you with our agency.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's $200,000 of of money that's gone into putting the website together. Like, yeah, I'm sure you have the same feeling of if you had to move on to a different platform, it'd be.
Well, we were on Shopify. We moved to WordPress 3 years ago because what I was finding is when I went out for bid to do everything we wanted to, I had a statement of work of what we wanted to do for marketing, kind of went out for bids or proposals. And every single one came back with, we want to move you to WordPress.
Yep.
And so I was like, I guess that's my only option. I've got 4 bids in front of me and every single one says WordPress. And they're all kind of like, yeah, Shopify's a thing. It's
right.
Like, what's so weird is like, for our space on B2B, I would have thought there would have been so much more Shopify emphasis because like that's what I've built a lot of websites in myself because it's a great platform.
Yeah, I think with B2B, there's so much focus on like RFQ and like non-transparent pricing that like a minority of the companies are actually, just putting stuff transparently with a buy now button, right?
That might be the pain. So I guess I can share some info offline of agency I wasn't too thrilled with that you might get a bid on if you go down this road. But I guess that would have been a WordPress as well because they originally migrated us.
I guess it's like, what do I need? Like really, like, we have a developer. Like what we need is like someone to write the blog, right? To like optimize, like giving the correct alt tags to like photos.
What keywords do you want?
I mean, I'd have to go into lists. Like there's obviously, they're different for different pages, but like UMC palette pool is like, and several derivatives thereof, for instance, for intro load.
Because what I did, if I go back in time, our original test on getting SEO traffic to convert based on what I've built, develops website on over the last now 4 years was I was like, all right, I'm spending $30,000 on marketing this year. That's going to be, we're creating blogs, 12 blogs internally, 1 a month. We're going to draft a revision of it. We're then going to hire an agency on Fiverr. Yeah, Fiverr.
Yep.
To do keyword analysis and upgrades to it. Now you could have ChatGPT do it. The challenge is you don't have time to write these. So then it was the audit. So it's like, how do you find an agency? But then all I did was I focused on some very specific keywords and was narrowed in on that just to run a test. And
I almost wonder like, so like the thing is I can pull up, I know what keywords I want, right? I have that list of keywords like per page. And I can tell ChatGPT, go to this webpage, here are the keywords I want, SEO optimize it. It gives excellent advice on what to change and how to change it, right? And we have a developer who's doing all the groundwork. And pretty much like, I think the biggest thing I need right now is like someone to go run this stuff through ChatGPT, proofread it, make sure it makes sense, and put it in, a PowerPoint or an outline and kind of do that and implement it with our Shopify developer. So it's not me page by page by page, right?
Can you build an SLP around that for one, and then use ChatGPT agent to do part of that SLP so it does a bunch of legwork?
Maybe, but I guess the big thing I'm seeing is like, I need to remove myself from that process entirely. Like, it needs to be, here are the keywords.
that's going to be tough, even with an agency removing myself, because I still audit everything we write.
Right. And maybe the answer is like we get like a marketing intern or something, right? And don't hire an agency, but hire full-time or part-time staff to go through these things one by one.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but then the problem is like, okay, well, yeah, that'll get you through the SEO, but at a surface level, and it can maybe write blogs, but they're also not going to know like, okay, how do I implement Pixel with this and that, and bring that more advanced knowledge in.
Yeah, I mixed emotions on doing it with an intern.
Yeah. Maybe intern is, I don't know what the right level is, right? But
yeah, let me think on this one. We're kind of going in circles here. I'll think about this one until next week.
Yeah.
Because you got a real pain. I've been there. Knowing how you want to approach it, though, I don't have a clear answer. So let me think on this one for a little
bit. And I think, honestly, you really inspired me, Matt, on like realizing, hey, go after market saturation and stop doing product line extension. Like, stop coming out with new shit. Like, saturate the market where you are. And I think there's so much opportunity, just with two-op automation turnkeys, and just with intraload, that like I just need to be pounding there, and I need to get myself back into primarily the sales and marketing roles, and at least in the short term, like I think it's fine if I'm doing R&D, but to be able to do that sustainably, I need to offload a lot of other tasks, right?
Yeah, I like my goal has been I want to do R&D, but I don't actually want to. Well, I'd love to do the work.
Right.
But where it lands is I do reviews on industrial design and then draft the SOWs and the metrics with the team.
Yeah.
So then we make sure we set the vision, because you're able to see where the entire company is going, and you make sure that that product doesn't mission creep, because it's all too easy to let features creep out. And then now it's been, all right, how do I get more into the sales and marketing, continue to that way? And then over the next kind of years here, my goal is to get anything packaging and palletizing sales, next year off my plate. Right. And then it's only large custom machines or large business development deals that I'm working on, and marketing is where I'd love to be.
I guess we're kind of rolling into the next section.
Yeah, that's engineering and R&D. And I guess I have a few updates there. So the HMI is going into Rev 2C of development, kind of getting minor details tuned out. Really what's happening is we're removing a USB port and cleaning up some sheet metal. So we used to have a USB on the front of it. It just turned into a pain for routing and cable management to the PC, and we didn't use it enough.
I thought it would be like customers, I can plug into this. And
we thought people would like it. People aren't using it, and they're actually seeing it more as a security risk.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, we'll put it behind a locked cabinet, and it actually makes our life easier. So perfect, fine. Let's go with that. And then sheet metal is just, you assemble something a handful of times and you just want to make it a little bit better. So that's what we're doing there. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. On the sheet metal, just kind of random tangent. Are you guys using send cut send? Do you make it and use a press brake? Like,
we have a hand brake here. We only modify stuff on that there. Complete transparency, I don't know where our sheet metal is getting purchased from.
Okay. Is it coming bent? Is it?
It's coming bent. Yeah, it's coming bent, powder coated. I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen send cut send on labels. I think FabWorks might be another one I've seen labels on in our shop. But yeah, the parts show up.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Speaking of sheet metal, we've got for our MRS demo unit, we're actually going to be building our conveyors moving forward. So that's turned into, they're super simple. We did a prototype on it, the roller conveyors, motor driven rollers. They're like always a 12-week lead time for us, which is really frustrating. And so that was one of the reasons. And we were able to shave some costs out of it for our semi-custom applications that we run into.
Right.
So now it's turned into like a modular sheet metal box that we order custom to length. We then drop our rollers in, and then for this one we need it so it mounts to the MRS. So that's going through sheet metal review, and it'll get ordered. So we'll have that for the trade show, but that's only going to be for internal use. We're not productizing that at this moment.
Yeah. Yes, seems like a huge win to pull out a 12-week lead time, right?
That's been so, as I said the multiple times in the past, was our goal is to drive complex machine builds sub 6 months.
Right.
When
Yep.
you have a 12-week lead time on something as simple as a conveyor, and we can buy the controls off the shelf and the motor driver really cost effectively, and we're talking about one piece of sheet metal that's mirrored
Mhm.
to hold the drivers together. We then wanted a cosmetic piece of sheet metal on the outside that's also mirrored. That's two to make it look better. And then you've got your end caps that are different because you want one as a stop and one as a pass through, and then your bolt together plates. It's like it ends up being like 6 or 8 pieces of sheet metal that were designed in less than a week,
Right.
and like the whole thing prototyped. Like it's kind of a no-brainer R&D left just to save time, and really it's going to cut our costs. We're going to take a $6,000 conveyor and turn it into $2,500.
Right. Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah. Simple little CI is really what that should almost be called, is what that really is. But it's cool.
For me, I guess engineering R&D might blend into continuous improvements a little bit. The first thing is I killed our small tumble blast product.
Cool.
And this is a product a lot of people loved. But the reason I killed it, first off, like the margins were the thinnest. It was one of our cheapest products. The biggest reason is we found a lot of the tier of customers purchasing this were not the same tier of customers of industrial clients purchasing the rest of our product line, including the more industrial giant tumble blast. And this product literally had more returns than all of our other products combined.
Oh my gosh.
And almost less than 10% of those were product defects. It was, hey, I did something I wasn't supposed to almost every time, and I broke it, and I want you to fix it. I want you to do it for free, even though it's a 1.5 years out of warranty. And it just got so tiresome.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's like the mindset of a guy in a garage, right? And they buy a Harbor Freight little bead blasting unit, and that's $300. And they want to automate it, and they buy a $500-$600 thing, and they think, oh, this is going to last for 5 years. And we're very transparent. It's kind of like a prosumer product. And then, it breaks after 50% duty cycle of 24/7 use after a year. Or the classic one is people put them in wet blasting cabinets, and we say, hey, it should work. It should work. But, put some sealant on it. We sell replacement motors. Like we're transparent that it's not rated for it, but I don't know. There's probably 100 units in wet blasting cabinets. But then every once in a while, we got one was completely rusted out. It looked like it was in salt water, like submerged.
Oh my gosh.
And I just got tired of it because, like the company's small enough, even though people love this product who bought it, like most of our industrial users, like were over the moon. I just said, like, I can't handle this 15% of customers who have unreasonable expectations and return it. So we're just going to kill the whole product. And
I like that you killed it. Yeah.
And we have a $1,200 version of it, 0 returns ever.
Oh,
ever.
Geez, that's really easy then to kill so you killed the lower cost one and kept the higher cost?
But it's the same. It's like the same product with a bigger motor. Like if there were issues, they would be in both products. It's really.
Well, you just described it. It's a cost barrier.
Yeah.
The other people will buy the one with the bigger motor, but they don't want to spend it. So you got rid of the cheap people. What's interesting is I liked your analogy of Harbor Freight, because I bought tools from Harbor Freight and I called it a weekend tool.
Right.
I needed a spray gun. I used the spray gun and I never used it again. I used it that weekend. Like those are the things that I buy from Harbor Freight. Like I'm never going to need this again. I'm not even going to clean it. I'm throwing it away.
Yeah. Like we have a Harbor Freight, like bandsaw, like a horizontal. Why do we have it? Because like we have a water jet, and the only reason we would ever use the horizontal bandsaw is if the water jet is in active use and, we can't make our blanks and we need to do it simultaneously, right? It's like a backup option.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad you killed it. And you still have a prosumer version at the 1200.
It's just a professional.
Okay.
So like, I think that's like a philosophical thing. And like, we're still doing engineering R&D. I think it's been a lot more focused on existing product lines. So like the M-Code Air Kit, we now have like an integrated 24-volt converter for Brother, Herco, Fanuc, right? So it truly is plug and play now, not like assemble these 2 different pieces. I think that's been a big improvement. These have been slow to roll out though. And that's one thing I've been working on is scoping it out, letting other staff do it, and then being more patient, being okay if it's not done immediately, and rolling it out slower, right? And I've been trying to change my mindset, like instead of like assembling assembling them myself until it's a problem, like I just assemble the first one with a video camera, like even if the video is bad, use a little Insta360 with a hat. And the goal is like I immediately make a Notion page that has the SOP and I hand it off. Man, I got an engineering R&D list, I guess. We have a new version of the quick flip station that's been kind of also on the slow roll. Been a couple months in the works. I keep talking about it, but I think we're like going a normal engineering pace now that I'm like pulling myself out.
What you'll see is you'll go slower for a period of time once you're out of it, and then your team's going to start going faster. That's what I found.
Yeah, because it's just more. I mean, you just physically don't have enough time to do it yourself, right? And if you do, well, you won't, but you'll burn out even if you try.
For sure, no doubt.
And that's like another philosophy thing of I've been finding myself like with a lot of turnkeys getting involved too much, and I'm trying to get one of our contractors to take a bigger role in doing the training there. And we've also been trying to insource a lot, like especially when the tariffs were really high. And I just asked myself the question, like, okay, we're a little overwhelmed right now. We only really quoted with Los Angeles-based domestic shops. Like, what if we just open that up and we just keep
you
looking
only
for
quoted
vendors?
in LA?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're way overpaying for parts.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I can send these parts out domestically with better vendors and better lead times.
We've had customers in California, and the one used to call us the Vietnam of America.
Yeah.
Like they're like, man, your prices are so cheap in Wisconsin, and you're like the Vietnam of the U.S. I was like,
and if you
I don't know how
have
to
good
take that,
shops
but
in Wisconsin or Illinois, I'd want to ideally not be totally dependent on one or two vendors. I would love references, but I'm like, oh my God, why? If I'm only paying 30% more than it would cost me to build it here, why worry about it? Especially when it's a low volume product.
What's
right?
your quantity of parts that you're trying to run? Because that varies drastically.
Yeah,
depending on
we
who I'd
generally
recommend.
run batches of 25, but we have so
Okay.
many different part numbers, right?
Okay.
So, I mean that's the caveat.
Can you share some prints? Maybe we get I'll send
Yeah.
you a mutual NDA if you want to send
Yeah.
me a bunch of prints, and
Yeah.
then I can review them and see which shop I might recommend for stuff like that. Because some are really good at certain things and some are not.
We pretty much just want to go to prototype shops. They'll do like low level production, and kind of our goal with vendors is like we give them a part number and they trust it, and we tell them, hey, we're gonna order 30 of this part quarterly or 25 of this part monthly.
I have one that might be good for that. Let's chat out offline what the revenue is and what you're thinking long term. So I'll put that as a note that I want to bring up after the call.
Cool. Yeah. But huge win. I mean, like we've been seeing just velocity, honestly, and I'm kind of like really letting myself say, like, the reason to run parts for us is so that we can tune our products, not to make the parts, right? And I'm really trying to own, like, as I simplify the business, like, okay, we're an engineering firm and an OEM. Like, we don't have to make the components, right? Like, God knows Haas doesn't make every single component. I mean, at this point, they probably make 20%.
Yeah, it's no different than automakers. I mean, you need to be putting it together as your focus. I mean, some of the largest companies I've been around are really good marketing companies.
Right.
They sell the most products on the planet, but they're marketing companies.
And that's kind of where I want to be, is not necessarily marketing, but engineering product first and marketing and sales second. And
for sure.
Do the part of the manufacturing that makes sense. Like, it still makes sense for us to make the like large format intraload parts because we have the water jet, we have the powder coating, we have the infrastructure. But making small CNC machine components, until the production numbers are really high, doesn't make sense for us. Like, high production numbers, we can run on intraload, and it makes sense for those to get that 20-30% back.
The thing will be is you're going to want to give some of that gravy to your supplier.
And
so they're motivated to do all of your work. It's kind of like you want to send the gravy, so they take the crap. Like, it's just part of the game, I feel like.
No, yeah, I'm with that for sure. But we do have to eat our own dog food, to use a crappy business phrase. Like, we have to use the products to make sure like that they work well at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for engineering? I got one.
I mean, there is, but I could go on and on. I mean, little improvements to the intraload. I guess the biggest thing that I keep bringing up is, I mentioned at one point the intraload 3-axis, and then we had the extra load, the giant one. And, in my like business simplification plan, I realized I love these $50,000 boxes that I can come on site, I can install them in a day, and I can leave, and they just work. That's the beautiful thing about palletized automation, right? And I keep thinking about this simplified, rotary 1-layer extra load with like 10 or 15 pallets. And I'm almost like, wow, that can be like a customer self-install. And I've been stopping myself from doing the R&D. And I'm almost like saying, hey, if I get a couple more staff in here, I really focus on sales and marketing, I get a lot of stuff off of my plate. I think I can kind of jump in and do that thing that I want to, but I need the infrastructure for it to be sustainable.
How big of pallets would you manage on that rotary?
That's been one of the questions, and kind of the intent is to make it a little bit modular so that you can choose your own size, and obviously the bigger number of pallets, or the bigger the pallets are, the fewer you'll get. But the target is like 4 by 4 feet footprint, maybe 6-7 feet tall.
And then are you going to have it multiple layers then, you're saying?
Just 1 layer. Yeah. So
would you consider multi-layer?
Well, that's the thing, is that's what we had before, and that we're kind of like halfway prototyped with the extra load on the multi-layer variant. But the problem is like it's going to end up being $100,000 product, and at that point, we're competing with Trinity and XYZ. But if we just come out with a $50,000 1-layer box, which is very doable, there's a lot faster market velocity, and we're in a part of the market that no one else is.
I might be interested in chatting about that offline as well, because I've got a project that we're bidding where I'm going to need a multi-layer pallet feeding into a conveyor, and I don't really want to build this pallet pool. But if we could co-develop one where maybe we do the software, you do the mechanical, we both get to share the IP, something like that, we can discuss that offline. I'm currently bidding that one. Well, we have to get a bid submitted by end of month about.
Yeah,
might be worth chatting, because it might be a solid win-win for us. Where we could leverage some of your knowledge on managing parts in that fashion and on a pallet pool.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll chat about that offline as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be an hour-long call after the call.
Yeah. I guess I'll quit rambling on. But
yeah, I think that I'll bring up my other topic next week, because we're out of time on engineering and R&D. Let's go into company-wide OKR, or company-wide updates and improvements.
I'll let you start. I've been going on.
I kind of started rolling into it. Mine was OKR focused. So every quarter we update our OKRs. I don't know, objectives and key results for people that aren't familiar with that. We kind of layer that on our small business flight plan. That's where everybody kind of lists what their goals are for the quarter and how they align with the organizational or the org goals. I typically submit mine first to everybody so they can kind of see them, because really I can't accomplish my goals without everybody on the team's help. So mine was getting that updated. Everybody's kind of seeing that, and they're going through and getting theirs polished for the next quarter. It's kind of the big thing. Not really a continuous improvement, more or less continuing to utilize our continuous improvements.
Yeah, I mean, having a system, right? Like at the end of the day, like a business is a system with a series of systems.
Yes.
Yeah. For us in continuous improvement, one of the big things has been equipment. So, we have that laser welder I think I mentioned I was selling at one point. I have since taken that back off of eBay, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep it. And part of that was I paid like $28,000 for it, and I was going to get like $15,000, right? And that's just a feel bad. But part of that came
that's 25%. That's not terrible.
Yeah. Well,
it's $5,000. How much you sell your products for?
28 to 15.
Oh, I heard 20.
Yeah.
I heard 20 to 15. I was like, $5,000, Michael.
Yeah. And that was just a feel bad, and that was maybe an emotional response, and it is what it is. But I started buying equipment like lightly used off eBay, or like even like Facebook Marketplace, if I can do a PayPal transaction and trust them and get it freighted, so that I'm just like skipping that depreciation step. So things like welding tables. We bought a little sky hook to move heavy vices and stuff around more safely. We bought a electronic tapping arm. Do you guys have tapping arms like the
pneumatic?
We have
one of those. We have an electronic one.
Okay, you do?
They're awesome.
Yeah. We have like a $6,000 flex arm. It just consumes air for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like it It eats more air than everything else in the shop, including like
Oh
a
yeah,
bead
we just
blaster.
have one of those like $2,000 ones off of Amazon that's
We
electric.
spent $1,200. It's like fully automatic. There's like a depth setting. And I'm like, oh my God, like what have we been doing?
It's an incredible product.
Yeah.
Is it that light weird blue one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we bought that. Like we've been buying like little stuff, and I've been like kind of scouring like eBay for things that like are an idea, so I can test them out more cheaply, and not eat the depreciation on them.
Yeah. I love buying used stuff. I just hate dealing with it at times. So
Yeah.
it's usually my mood of like, do I have time to deal with the used sellers, if you will, or am I
Right.
just buying this to get it done?
Well, I think it's about like a little bit of mindset. Like we also bought one of those like automated, we're like shipping products too. So, the like paper, like water activated tape. We bought
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the like $1,500 like automated dispensers that cuts it, and it has a heater, so it sticks a lot better. But
Huh.
what did I do? I spent $700 on eBay to get like a refurbished one, right? I
Yeah.
didn't.
No, I like that approach. I guess I've never even met anybody that bought one of those. I've worked like everywhere I've
Yeah.
worked, big corporations. I've never even seen one of those expensive ones.
Right. And we've been using these like the crappy little thing with a little roller in it, and it never sticks right because the water's not heated, and you got to refill it like every day. And I'm just like, enough. Like, and it's so much easier to pull the trigger on like $700 than it is 1,500, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah. Lots of equipment. And I think the biggest one is killing the tumble blast product. It's just like, kill your darlings kind of thing. Like,
Well, if that was your number one return, I'm excited to see how much energy you might gain back just by having that off your head or
Yeah.
or out of your mind, because I'm assuming every time one of those came back, you got pissed off.
And part of the theory was like, is it a feeder product? Like, is it that thing that gets people in the door that,
Yeah. We can
then they become
justify
familiar with us?
everything.
Well, I'm like, okay, like at the end of the day, is that gonna, because it's so tangential, like, we have fab shops and stuff buying it. Like, is that gonna get us into the CNC? Like, unlikely. Yeah.
I think you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Good deal. Anything else? Updates and improvements?
I mean, you had mentioned that you were considering killing a product, and I wanted to ask if there was any update there, but I'm gonna guess not, because you've been so slammed pounding the pavement.
Yeah, I've been slammed. I think the only thing that we were looking at bringing the HMI online this year, I decided to say that we're only developing our HMI hardware for internal use. And I think it's going to be TBD if we ever release that to the market. It's been something I've been questioning because I'm seeing how unique it is and how much it's winning us for automation projects. So I've had a lot of proposals over the last couple months here, record numbers that develop. And the one thing or couple things, there's a few things that really stood out to our customers. One being our single source guarantee that we do everything, the engineering, the building and the machines all under one roof. I've had customers say, that's great. If something goes wrong, I got one throat to choke. It's like, all right, that's a great analogy there, sir. And then the HMI being another one of those really big drivers for our customers, seeing that we've put so much in the software and the UI, UX of our machines that it's like, I don't know if it got killed or pushed out because we just didn't have the engineering support. But the more I'm reflecting on this thing, I'm going, I don't know if I ever want to make that a product, because I think the real product is our machines on that. And if that's what's winning us the bids, why would I give our competition the leg up?
Yeah, I mean, I just think you hold it close to your chest too. And I think it's always probably wrong to be like defensive. Like early on, I was like, I didn't want to release products or like show ideas because someone might copy it. But
it's not
I mean, it is a
necessarily
real thing at a certain level, especially if your competitors are local. Of like, if there's less access, right? Like if only your existing customers have access to the thing, even with PLC locks and stuff, like it makes it much less likely that you're gonna have the thing.
Well, we weren't going to give software. We're just going to do the hardware, but it has so much developed brand language in it that it was just like what I was trying to do. I feel like is when I helped Ring Brothers scale up a lot of their product development, they sold their brand language, and it's like, yeah, for cars that makes sense, but brand language doesn't really matter to most machine builders. I see that like most machines are ugly, and it's like it takes an extra 2 hours to make these things sexy. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so like, I just don't want to give that up.
Well, I mean, have you looked at any HMI? Oh my God, like 95% of HMIs I've seen that are like custom automation projects look like garbage. How hard is it to not make it look like Windows XP, you know?
Do you know how hard? I
Yeah.
mean, we had to build out, we use an industrial HMI. We had to build out our own enclosure, not a sheet metal box that you
Yeah.
buy from Saginaw or something, which are great enclosures for controls, just
Right.
terrible
Yeah.
for an HMI that somebody's got a finger poke at. And then the software, I mean, we've had one engineer dedicated for over 2 years just to building out our libraries.
Yep.
And then other engineers deploying those on machines. Like, there's got to be 6,000 engineering hours just into our software of our HMIs at this point. And that's not even customer specific software. That's every project that gets layered in. And then there's the customer specific software that gets put into our libraries.
Yeah. I mean, part of your challenge for sure is how much stuff you have to be able to do. Like, you know, we obviously have built our own HMI, which, you know, it's automation direct parts in a sheet metal water jet and powder coated box, and it works great. But you know, when we're making the intraload HMI, like, what does it have to do? Like, keep track of a dozen variables and talk with the machine and upload a dozen variable. Like, there's so little to do that compared with a level of software that you've had to develop.
Yeah, we've had machines with 60 axes on them. Like,
yeah,
that's a little bit of software.
Cool. Like, what's our next section?
It's challenge for the week. Last week I was supposed to get the SOW done. I didn't. I'm gonna carry that forward, make that again my challenge for this week. Yours, what was it?
I lost mine, by the way.
I have machine designer here note for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know what it was. My remarkable tablet did not cooperate. Should we skip mine and go on to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have.
No, you're good.
Designer.
You're good.
What?
Because I wrote mine down too, and I don't know if I erased it or what happened, but.
So I need to get the SOP done or SOW done for our sales, like I talked about.
Yeah.
So we can. The goal is to get that. What the result is once it's built out, we can start bringing a salesperson in to take over, or other people on our team to take off more of the sales once they've kind of come in. So
yeah.
For you, what is your challenge? What are you thinking you need to be focusing on?
That's a good question. Like I think, you know, there's definitely a little bit of work I'm gonna have to do, like coming into the business, just to help get some of this intraload prep done. But you know, I don't think. Oh man, I think it's just got to be sales related, and somehow related to building. You know what? Like, I guess I'm gonna do that anyways. I probably the biggest thing has to be marketing related and coming up at least with a plan. You know, maybe it's just like scope out or talk to 3 marketing agencies, right?
I think just scoping, would be a solid one. When was the last time you took like a day or even half a day just to reflect on the business and think about where you want to be, where you're at, and ask yourself where you're missing the mark? When was the last time you did that?
Yeah. It's been a while. I think it was back when we were really taking EOS seriously, the, you know, operating system thing. And and candidly now, I think, you know, small business flight plan is a good intermediary there. You know, I think like we're a little bit past kind of the E-Myth revisited. You know, I think that's really good for getting from, you know, 1 to 3 or 4 people. But and I've mostly been rereading that as a reminder of myself to get out of the damn business, like and start working on it. And when I am in the business, for it to be intentional and short term. And like I think I definitely need to take half a day or a day, like you said, and just reflect.
Yeah, that might be a solid challenge for you. And then once you're done with that, build out your marketing SOW, because I think that might be driven based on where you want your business to go, because you're going to focus your marketing on where that new fence post is, or that vector. I don't think it's going to be a drastic move, but I think it'll be a shift.
Yeah. And one of the things that like my business owners group has is like an accountability thing every month, right? Like that we hold ourselves to. And the mine for this month was just to come up with like a 1 or 2 page, like executive summary of my business simplification plan, right? Like how I'm going to have, fewer things, how I'm going to focus myself, how I'm going to focus the business, whether it's like a slide deck or a Word document or whatever. And I think, I guess probably the accountability item for here is just take half a day and just, reflect and scope a plan, probably just generally for the business, right? As opposed to even dialing down to marketing.
All right, I have this one typed, and I will do that moving forward for you.
Because I chronically lose them. Yeah, welcome to the
That's all right.
ADHD brain. I think
Yeah,
you're a little bit there, but not as badly as me.
It might just be age.
You've had more time to organize.
Yeah, my ADD used to be ADHD. I'd say used to be pretty high off the charts. So it's leveled out a little bit as I've gotten older, I guess.
That's the hope. My fingers are crossed.
Yeah, caffeine is also one way to mildly.
Oh yeah, I'm a caffeine addict. That's cool.
All right, that sounds like a wrap. I think we've got a full hour here. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, give us a 5-star review. Share with a friend. Yeah, wherever you are, Spotify, Apple. That really helps us.
Yes,
cool.
Thank you very much.
I'll wrap there. Boop. Thank you so much for listening to Matt and I's conversation this week on the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. If you like the podcast, please share it with a friend or give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next week to continue sharing our respective journeys in life, business, and industrial automation. Thanks so much.